Drew, let's start with kind of the nexus for this trip to Vietnam. Tell me how the seed was planted and how long ago it was.
Really, what happened here, we've always kind of viewed ourselves as kind of like the special ops honor flight. We always do something a little bit different. Back in 2012, we did a flight to Pearl Harbor with Pearl Harbor survivors, and that, in essence, planted the seed for what we're doing for Vietnam. So we're getting a lot of questions from Vietnam vets. Is this something you guys are ever going to do? And it grew into what it is.
How long does it take to organize something like this? It would seem like just what little I've seen, there's a lot of plates that are spinning to make this happen. I mean, how long does it take to bring it all together?
Yeah, there's a lot of moving parts. We started the planning mode for this probably last spring. So, I mean, it's been quite pretty close to a year about talking, getting things in place, gauging the interest of the veterans. And, of course, we don't want to launch an announcement until we know that the interest for the vets would be there. We were very happy that the vets were enthusiastic about the initiative. And so, yeah, it's been quite the planning process. You can imagine moving that many people essentially halfway around the globe. It takes a lot of coordination.
And what are the other elements that you have to check off the list here? I mean, I know there's medical issues that you have to kind of make sure you're covered there. And I know on the trips, the day trips to D.C., you have escorts basically with all the veterans that go. I mean, you had to do that for this as well, or is it a little different?
We had to take it a little bit deeper. And obviously, you know, the medical part of it, we needed to make sure that these vets, we screened them even a little tighter to make sure that they could take this kind of trip, because we're talking about a 15-hour plane ride to get us to Shanghai. That's even before we get into Vietnam. So just a plane trip of that duration is taxing on anybody, let alone somebody that's 69 or 70 years old. So quite a bit of medical screening went into it. We do have a physician that's traveling with us. And then a lot of questions of the vets, having them self-reflect, make sure that this is something that they felt physically capable of doing and emotionally capable of doing.
That's a good question, and I know it would be a disservice to suggest that post-combat kind of issues for World War II vets didn't exist, because I'm sure it did. We just didn't maybe realize it as much, but certainly it's come into play with the Vietnam veterans as time has gone on and such. So what did you have to do to kind of make sure that that was not going to be an issue with these folks that are coming along? I mean, was there a screening process of any kind beforehand?
It's a really good question. And like I say, the PTSD has been around forever. It was shell shock in World War I. It was battle fatigue in World War II. And so now we refer to it as PTSD. And it's a whole different level. When you're taking a veteran to Washington, D.C. to see that memorial, certainly some emotions come up. But when you're taking veterans back to where the battlegrounds, where they were, when something so important was formed so much of what they are today, that's a whole different level. And so the PTSD was really a concern. So we did screening, and again, mostly self-reflection on the vet's part, putting the questions out to them, making sure that they were comfortable in going down this path, because there are going to be emotions. We understand that.